Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of This Old Deck. Still going through some of the decks in this book. It's another casual deck, although it'd be the first time I've covered a deck in this particular section, and the section in the book is the one on multiplayer. And that, is its own little section after the section on theme decks. So multiplayer decks. And the decks in this section, they're not singleton decks. This isn't multiplayer in the style of, say, EDH or Commander. It's not in the style of, say, other non-singleton multiplayers. So it's not like Plane Chase or Arch Enemy. This is like old school multiplayer. And what's interesting is the size of the decks vary in this section. This is the largest one. So I figured I'd pick this one because it's closest to a 100 card deck. It's actually got 82 cards in it. There is actually a 15 card sideboard. I've opted not to cover it in this episode, which is often I do. Some of the decks, the casual decks, don't actually have sideboards in there anyway, and sometimes when I'm doing a casual deck I just don't bother talking about the sideboard. Basically for this deck, the sideboard's mainly full of some extra counter spells, another wrath effect, and a few other things to sort of offer a bit more protection under certain circumstances. So 82 cards in here. Some of these cards we will have seen already, but what we'll do, as we always do in these episodes, is I'll go through certain interesting cards in here. We've done Helm of Obedience before, I think, in a deck, and a few other one of these. Now, the name of the deck is Phase Wrath, and it sort of gives away what this deck, essentially what this deck is about is phasing your board and then wrathing the board while your stuff is phased out. And then your stuff phases back in and you can get down to business. So I'll just read what it says in this section of the book. It says, phasing was originally conceived of as a serious disadvantage, an appropriate way to provide blue with relatively dangerous yet nastily crippled creatures. It wasn't long before the players, always ingenious, found a way to make the most of it. While the creature is phased out, it is counted as out of the game completely. No spell or effect yet published. And don't forget, this was talking in 1997. No spell or effect yet published can interact with it in any way. This provides the perfect opportunity for playing mass destruction spells, particularly Wrath of God. While your creatures are floating in the ether, destroy all creatures in play. Then, at the start of your next turn, your horde phase back in while your opponents are left with nothing. Even with this effect available, however, it is undeniable that only having your creatures available every other turn is a serious disadvantage. Weatherlight changed all of that. Teferi's Veil makes all of your attacking creatures phase out at the end of combat, which means that they all phase back in at the start of your next turn, every turn. Suddenly, not only does the phasing attribute become utterly irrelevant as a disadvantage, but it will always be slower than the effect of the veil. But it will always be slower than the effect of the veil. But it significantly cheapens your creatures. For defense during your opponent's turns, if Wrath of God and Armageddon are not enough, Blinking Spirits does not phase and does not have to attack unless you want it to. You can play a Wrath and respond to it by returning the Blinky to your hand. The order to play all of this is to get out a range of creatures, play Teferi's Veil, and then once they're all safely away, play Wrath of God. Armageddon will then make sure that no one can regain enough creatures to catch up with you. So let's have a look at the deck. So that's pretty much it. So the strategy's pretty straightforward. There's a number of other bits and bobs in here, as you'll see, which speed up certain bits. So we got Soul Ring. Yep. So colourless mana acceleration. 1 to cast, tap, add 2 colourless mana to your mana pool. I've made all the cards here era relevant, if you like. It's probably the most recent printing of the card that was legal. Sorry, it's casual, isn't it? The most recent version of the card that was in this deck at this point in time, if that makes sense. So we've got Howling Mind, 2 to cast. During each player's draw phase, that player draws an additional card. Millstone, 2 to cast, 2 tap, put the top 2 cards of target player's library into his or her graveyard. Helm of Obedience, X tap, put the top card of a target opponent's library into his or her graveyard. Continue doing this until you have put X cards or a creature card into that graveyard, whichever occurs first. If the last card put into the graveyard is a creature card, bury Helm of Obedience and put that creature into play under your control as though it were just cast. X cannot be 0. Creature wise, 14 creatures in here, so there's 11 artifacts in total, 14 creatures. We have Teferi's Honor Guard, 2 and a white with flanking, so 2/2, and it has double blue to phase out, so it can phase itself out. Blinking Spirit, 2 and a white, 0, return Blinking Spirit to owner's hand, so that you can bounce back to your hand for 0 to recast it, to get it out of the way. Rainbow Efreet, 3 and a blue, flying, 2 blue phase out. 3 Mist Dragons, 4, 2 blue, 0 gives it flying, 0 it loses flying, 3 and 2 blue phases out. You can see a pattern here. And here we have 3 enchantments, all Teferi's Veil, 1 and a blue. Whenever any creature you control attacks, it phases out at end of combat. Instant wise, there's actually 17 in here. We have 3 Swords to Plowshares, so remove a target creature from the game. The creature's controller gains life equal to its power. 4 counter spells, 2 blue, counter target spell. Mainboarding a disenchant, so 1 and a white, destroy target artifact or enchantment. 3 dissipates, 1 and 2 blue, target counter spell, but it removes that spell card from the game. And 3 desertions, 3 2 blue, counter target spell. If that spell is an artifact or summon spell, so artifact or summon spell, put that card into play under your control as though it were just played. Land base is actually 30 cards, so we've got 4 and a card wastes. Tap, add 1 colourless mana to your mana pool. Tap, add white or blue to your mana pool. Add a card waste, deals 1 damage to you. 10 islands. 2 Lotus Veils, so when it comes into play you bury 2 untapped lands or bury Lotus Veil, but when it comes on board, tap it, add 3 mana of any one colour to your mana pool. 10 Plains for white mana, and then 4 Tundras, most expensive card in the deck I think. Tap either blue or white to your mana pool, counts as both islands and plains, and is affected by spells that affect either. If a spell destroys one of these land types, this card is destroyed. If a spell alters one of those land types, the other land type is unaffected. And then we've got 7 sorceries. 1 balance, so 1 and a white. Each player sacrifices enough lands to equalise the number of lands all players control. The player who controls the fewest lands cannot sacrifice any in this way. All players then equalise cards in hand and then creatures in play in the same way. And then we have 2 Armageddons, which will blow up all the lands, including yours. And we have 4 Wrath of Gods, which will bury all creatures, including yours. However, this is where the phasing comes in. So the idea is to strategically plan your phasings in and out so that any Wrath of Gods that you play will wrath everything except your stuff, because it's actually not in play. It's phased out and then it phases back in and you can swing with it. So there we have it. So let's look at some interesting cards. I'll try and pick ones we haven't looked at before, and then at the end we'll look at all the, or we'll do a quick overview of all the phasing cards in Magic and sort of see where the hole in the phasing story happens, because there was a lot of phasing for a while and then it sort of went away. So, good old Soul Ring, banned in Legacy, banned in Oathbreaker, restricted in Vintage, is legal in Commander. Surprise, surprise. And it's a mana rock. There's a number of cards that are worse than it. So it's better than all of these. I can't think of any 1-drop 2 colourless card that's better than this. I mean, obviously there's things like Moxes, well, they don't produce 2 mana, but the casting cost is lower. Anyway, similar to a Mana Crypt, it says. So 0 to cast. This one, there's a chance that you could lose the flip and it will do 3 damage. But for 0, it's to cast, you can tap it for 2 colourless. And Mana Vault. It's a 3 colourless card. 1 to cast. Mana Vault doesn't untap during your untap step. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may pay 4 if you do untap Mana Vault. At the beginning of your draw step, if Mana Vault is tapped, it deals 1 damage to you. So Sissy's Ring, so 2 mana for 4. Soul Talisman, it's got Suspend on it. Golem's Eye, 2 for 4. Thrain Turbine, that's during upkeep you may add up to 2 colour this mana to your mana pool. Yeah, this mana cannot be spent to play spells. That's 1 to cast. And then Warm Power Stone, which is the 3 mana, enters the battlefield tapped version. And of course there's a number of cards all over the place that will add multiple mana. If we're just thinking about artifacts, that are colourless artifacts, and is first printing we get this sort of thing. So things like Basalt Monolith, Mana Vault, Ashnod's Altar. So cards that don't quite have the same mechanic as Soul Ring, but nonetheless can produce multiple colourless mana. And you get things like the batteries, so you can sort of store up mana and then release it. So they're always interesting. And of course you've got things like Lotus Blossom, and some of these other cards which produce a massive amount of mana, but they have a habit of not tapping during your untapped step and stuff like that. So you got 4 to play for 3, 4 for 3. And then these attendants as well. There's Gilded Lotus, of course. Stuff like Doubling Cube. And there's some things out there, I don't know how many colourless ones where it's producing Wooburg mana. as well. And there's stuff like this that I tend to forget about. You got Hedron Archive, Forecast 2. Powerstone Shard. That one's pretty heavy casting cost. That looks cool. No one there. Thermal drain. Oh, nice. Pretty nice looking card as well. Okay, on to Howling Mine. Now this, they did have some in the Brothers War, didn't they? M10, yeah, that's where I remember it from. Wasn't it in 10th edition as well? Yeah. That's probably when I first saw it. I do like this artwork. I think I might have either a 9th or an 8th edition. Maybe one of these sets. I think I have this style artwork somewhere. And then that's 5th. That must be what? Oh, sorry, 6th edition. I was, get around the wrong way. 6th edition. 5th edition. And then 4th and way, way back to original Alpha, Beta, Unlimited. Was it in... Yeah, it was in Revised. I think I've got... I'm trying to think which one I've got like this. Maybe it's either a 5th or a 4th edition. Yeah. So... what have we got? Repeatable draw. Similar to Font of Mythos. Oh, and yes, it was Temple Bell. Each player draws a card. So that one, yeah, once it's out, unless you blow it up, it doesn't turn off. At least this one, you've got some control over it. Yeah, so this is a creature with Howling Mine stapled onto it. There's a lot of repeatable drawing magic, isn't there? And a number of cards that fall into the category of group hug. Oh yeah, Dictator Crucifix, of course. Yeah. And yeah, it's a symmetrical spell. Because everybody gets to party. Now, what was I going to do here? Something came to mind. I know. Cube Cobra. What do we have? Oh, there's quite a lot of... let's go into the synergistic actually, because sometimes I don't know, whenever I use the synergistic I always tend to see like a lot more old school cards. Oh, there's the mines. Mines and diamonds and Howling Mines. So there's the Urza land. How many can you have? You know where I'm going with this. Is there such a thing as mine tribal? That's what I want to know. I think that's the question on everybody's lips. What's the best way to do that? Just something like that, maybe. I don't know. Dwarven Mine, Mine Captain, Dwarven Miner. What's it? 5 colour mine. maybe. Well, you've probably got to play those as well, haven't you, really? There's no legends here, is there? What about something that just has mines somewhere, even though it doesn't really matter what it is? Oh, legendary creature. Oh, Jasmine or Jasmine. Yeah, Jasmine. Green, white mines. I don't think that would cover everything though, would it? Oh, magma. Oh, mine bearer, yeah. Okay. M-mine, ent 1. Blue, black, red. I'm really scraping the bottom of the barrel here, aren't I? To try and do mine tribal. So I'm just seeing. Oh. So the most colour combinations we've got is this, which is blue, black, red. So blue, black, red. So we can't play any white. So that's fine. Red's fine. It does mean we got no green. Yeah, so we can't play Mineshaft Spider. Damn. Or Power Stone Minefield. Or Source to Feast and Fan Mine. Oh well. Looks like we just have to play some other 5-card utility thing. General. Maybe. Chromat. Chromine. I could change the card. Okay, enough silliness. Millstone. Okay, 2 to cast, 2 tap. Put the top 2 cards of target player's library into his or her graveyard. Mill any. So we've got Wet Wheel, Realm Baker, the Invasion Tree. Yeah, it's quite a bit of mill any here. There's Codex Shredder. And again, if we're interested in, mill any artifacts, type artifact. It's these, and is first printing. Wand of Denial. Okay. So Macadian Masks into Meridian Timewards. You've got Grinding Station and Grindstone. Oh yeah, of course, Keening Stone. Shriekhorn. Interesting. Right. Let us into synergies. Yeah. Oh, we got some classics here. Clone. I might have a copy of that somewhere. Library of Leng, that's one of my favourites. Do like that card. And you've got Nightmare as well. Pretty cool artwork. And this Phantom Warrior, I think I've lost track of how many times this has been printed, because I can never remember if it was in that. Yeah, it's been. There was a version in 10th edition. What was that? There wasn't, because it's interesting, it doesn't have the illusion downside on it. Because a lot of illusions, if you target them, they just blow up. Whatever you target it with. But there was a... Am I getting confused? No, it is illusions, isn't it? They generally do that, I think I'm right. But there was a blue deck in one of the core sets, which was an illusion deck, and it had a card in it that basically takes away the illusion downside somewhere. And I'm trying to remember if this card was also in there. And of course, there's no illusion downside on this one. This goes, what, 8th edition? How much? Oh, Portal. Okay. There we go. It's pretty interesting artwork. Helm of Obedience, which we've looked at before. That was in another deck. So interesting. Theft of Creature card. Similar to Thought Dissector from... That's Darksteel, isn't it? It's got a mill effect on it as well. There's quite a few Theft Creature cards in Magic. And if I look at Cube Combo, let's see what it synergizes with. Oh, Mirror Universe. I've not seen that card for a while. There's Jazam Jin, which I was talking about, I think, in another episode. Yeah. Voltaic Key. Good old Spell Sky as well. Yep, Sinkhole. And Steel Artifact was in that Amy art deck, wasn't it? Amy Webber's artwork deck that I featured in a previous episode. I have Spirit of the Night somewhere. Flying Trample, protection from black, first strike when attacking, unaffected by summoning sickness. 6/5 for 9. So yeah, mono black. I suppose if you had Soul Ring in play, just trying to think of it now. Yeah, anyway. It's like, what combination of cards could get that out super fast? I'm trying to think of the card. There's an artifact, isn't it? It's like reduces the cost of different coloured spells by 1. Then you've got Soul Ring, which is 2 colourless. And you've got a number of spells that generate like multiple black mana. So you can probably get that out pretty early with the right combination of mana rocks and cards which reduce the cost of these. And seeing as it's going to be, if you're playing EDH, it's going to be your general anyway, where you're committed to playing mono black anyway. So the 3 black's not as a big a deal as it would be in like a multicoloured deck. So it's going to be mono black anyway. Desertion. This is pretty busy artwork. It's really cool, actually. Oh yeah, we've been down this rabbit hole before. Yeah, I think we have, haven't we? I think I've been down this particular artist's style before. This is really interesting, the stuff, you know, when you look at this really hard, the stuff you can sort of see lurking in the background. I'm trying to remember if I've got an Ice Quake. I'll have to dig it out. I need to go through my Ice Age binder. There's not a ton of Ice Age cards, but there's some pretty interesting cards in there, from what I remember. Oh, that was reprinted in Commander's Arsenal, wasn't it? Oh, and wow, in the original artwork. Okay. I opened a few of these. I'll have to see. 6th edition, Visions. I don't know. If it's Visions, I would have had to bought a copy of it, but I don't remember. Yeah. Okay, open Cube Cobra. Yeah, I've been rather neglecting this in previous episodes, partially because I was having one or two problems with the speed of the internet, but that's now solved. So this all populates nicely. Thawing Glaciers. Each player draws a card. Target player draws a card. Target player mills 20 cards. Control magic. Oh, there's Fog Bank. These interesting. These yeah, multimodal morphlings. Don't they all have the ending ling or whatever, I think? Can I drill down through this? We've gone off on a real side tangent here. Ah, there we go. The true cycle of morphings. That's funny. Keeping it true with the morphlings. Does that mean there's like fake morphlings? Morphling, Torchling, Thornling, Brightling, Endling, Modern Horizons, Battle Bond. That one's a mythic, isn't it? Is that a mythic as well? Yeah. Let's play in the castle there. Yeah, they're all rare and above. So probably pretty unlikely I've got any of these. I might have the odd one kicking around. Oh, I know I have this one because it's the arch enemy Nicol Bolas thing. So yeah, I definitely have that. Okay, now we're sort of getting into phasing territory. Just try and work out where did I come from? Oh yeah, so we were looking at counterspells, weren't we? Desertion, right? Okay, got my bearings again. Right, Teferi's Honor Guard, not Tarifis as I sometimes mispronounce it. Teferi's Honor Guard. Hate Plucker namesake spell phasing. Yeah, we'll come on to that at the end. Actually, I'm saving that. So we just do one big look at phasing. Okay, what is this like being synergized with? What do we got that's interesting here? Oh, Anarchy. Okay. Anything I particularly recognise? Karoo Lands. Oh, I have one of those, definitely. Yeah, it's a common. Yeah, 10th edition, so I should have that lurking around. I got Cloud Elemental. Always really like the artwork on that. Another 10th edition card. Blinking Spirit. So this one bounces back to your hand as opposed to phasing. But you can see in the strategy in this deck where this would definitely be advantageous to play. Bounce Self. There's quite a number of cards that have some ability to do that. Arcanus has an interesting 2/2 blue ability. It's also got cool card draw on it as well. I don't know how many first printing, and if we do type legends, I think we can get away with that. Yeah, there's several legends that do a bit of bouncing. There's the original Arcanus artwork. I do have this in the original artwork actually. Yep. Feldegriff bounces if you want it to. How much are these? Yeah. Some of these legends, I think I am right, they've never been... I don't know how many legends in this particular set, Portal 3 Kingdoms. So, I might have even looked at this before, but... Oh, not legends. Okay, so we've got 31 in here. If I do... I could do a clever thing with a reprint thing up here, but let's just do it the quick and dirty way, which is to just do full and quickly sort of eyeball. So if we look down, that one ended up in Commander's Arsenal. Yeah, these are all just online reprints. Oh, yeah, that one went into Commander 2013. So did that. Yeah, so they've been put on Magic the Gathering Online because they're in Masters Edition. But beyond that, you can see a few of them are turned up in Commander, was it 2013 there? Some have ended up on Magic the Gathering Online because of the treasure chest to get them out there. That way they're available first for Commander players. It's Commander Masters. It's a gift card one. Yep, so quite a number. But, yeah, very few reprinted in paper. Rainbow Freet. This one phases out. Has flying. 300 boot to cast. Was in a World Championship deck actually. Not sure which one. Obviously from 98. It's the Randy Buehler one from 98. Invasion because of flying. Phasing out. Okay. And other potential synergies. Oh, Ophidian. Remember that card? It's Ghost Ship. 25. What was that? Oh, Ghost Ship was from the dark. That's nice. I mean, artwork wise. 2 and 2 blue for a 2/4 with flying. So it's not too egregious, but yeah. Flying men. What have we got in the other section? Astrolabe. Went through quite a lot of Amy Webber's artwork in a previous episode. Mist Dragon. It's interesting, these sort of zero cost abilities. And yeah, remember this, of course, yeah, it lasts indefinitely, which is why you've got, there's this ability to sort of switch on and off, and you can phase it out. And that was a cycle of Mirage Dragons. It's on the tip of my tongue there. Untracked indefinite effects, 274. And what are you synergizing with, my friend? What's that? Dreamtides. Oh, from Visions. Oh. Was that the one that's quite expensive? Yeah. Oh, Cosmic Horror. Rather nasty looking card. Anything else here that piques my interest? Oh yeah, Ivory Tower. That's pretty cool. I'm trying to think, I've got a copy of, I think I have that one somewhere from the Vault's Relics version. It's quite possible I might have an earlier one as well. So this was when? Let me just go to view on Scryfall. Okay, view all prints. Was it reprinted in? The only copy I'm likely to have is if it's in one, like say 4th edition. It's unlikely that I've got this. So revised or 4th indeed, but I know I've got the other one, that rather nice foil reprint. Okay. Teferi's Veil. Whenever a creature you control attacks, it phases out at the end of combat. Delayed triggering ability. There's quite a number of those. There's an Etherling. And in a moment we'll go through and have a look at all the phasing cards in Magic's history. Okay. Surveyor's Scope. Oh, Tombstone Stairwell. Mana Maze. Players can't play spells that share a colour with the spell last played this turn. Oh wow. That's interesting. What does that synergise with as well? Did it switch over? Exchange your graveyard and your library. Then okay, it's amazing the cards that one uncovers when we're doing this. Yeah. My. And there's certainly some old school cards here. Wow. Right. So 71 cards that have the phrase phasing on them. You notice here, if we go in, so when the enchantment enters the target creature phases out. I think in the original printing, it doesn't actually specifically mention the word phasing, even though that's what it's doing. So we don't really see it as a word until Mirage, and then we get a ton of them. So Dreamfighter, Merfolk Raiders, Mist Dragon, Reality Ripple, Sandbar Crocodile, Sapphire Charm's got it on it. And we have this one, which is Tanarwell, which is a phasing legend. Shimmer, really like this artwork. There's several, you can see there's several namesake spells here as well. So Teferi's name comes up quite a bit. That's rather a freaky looking animal. Got some interesting multicolour cards with phasing on it. It's pretty interesting artwork. Crystal Golem has it on it. Then we've actually got Teferi's Isle, Equipose. So this is all Mirage stuff up to here. Then we get some stuff in Visions. So Mirage Block. I like that artwork there. There's Rainbow Efreet, which we've seen. So we've got some Efreets. More Visions. There's Vision Charm. And then we get to what? Weatherlight. There's Teferi's Veil. Tellurian Drake. Voldalian Illusionist from Weatherlight. We get a Vanguard card and something from Unhinged, and we don't really see it again. Well, yeah, we don't see it until Commander 2017. Teferi's Protection. So there's this huge gap. Obviously, they weren't keen to use it again. And then these in M21. Weren't there several versions of? Yeah, this card. That's right. I remember that. There's multiple versions of that particular card. Out of Time, Blink Dog. So we see it in Adventures in the Forgotten Realm on a few cards. and the commander stuff, and then Innistrad Midnight Halt on a couple of cards. It's on, where is it? If you do it, physics. Oh, there we go. It's down the bottom. Should have spotted it. March of the Swirling Mist. Yeah, so big gap, and then fair, you know, 1, 2 cards here and there in different sets. Okay, it's a cool looking card. I like that. There's a few in Doctor Who. Town of Middle-earth Commander. That's nice. That's funny. That's that Princess Bride, isn't it? Oh. Monty Python. Must be. That's a daughter. Oh, of course, yeah, Daughter Nothingness. I was trying to think, what card is that supposed to be? It's down there. That's funny. And then the whole alternate win condition, of which I think I did a episode on, or maybe there's one coming up. I get so confused now because I've done so many of these, and there's so many. This is the one series where I've got quite a few in the pipeline. So yeah, look, oh, I've done so many of these. Yeah, all win condition. Yeah. So that's, yeah, okay, yeah, I see now. It has been done. So, okay, well that was cool. It's a bit of a different deck to look at. So thanks once again for watching. Bye for now, and I will catch you in a future video.